Look, let's not get it twisted. Just because we can now focus on the client side and become career front-end developers doesn't mean we can turn a blind eye to the server side. After all, we still probably need the server side to deliver our client-side code. And we definitely need to rely on it to get our data and content. But as client-side developers, we don't need to concern ourselves with how it does all that, do we? Well, no, we don't need to have a strong grasp on how it does what it does. But we do need to understand how the client uses the server side. And we should have some basic understanding of how a website is hosted and served up. Let's begin with serving it up. We know that an HTML file can be opened up in a web browser and it will render. And we have probably spun up some sort of web server on our local machine at one point in learning front-end web development. Maybe it was using Node.js or Ruby, or maybe we used an IDE like WebStorm to launch a site. All of these are what we refer to when talking about serving up a site. They involve some sort of web server logic that will listen on a specified port on the machine it is running on, and when requests come in on that port, they will make some decisions about what website code they should run. That code may just be an HTML file that the web server will read and return to the requester, or it may be a server-side script or code that it will know how to run, which in turn will do some work like constructing some final HTML output or data. That code will tell the web server to send back a response, usually with a specified HTML status code and some content. So these are the ways that a website and website content is served up. But what about hosting? What does that mean? Well, a web server needs to run from some machine or service, and it needs to be connected to a network that can be reached from the web. The web server is hosted on a machine, and the hosting exposes access to the web server. The standard port that web servers usually run on in a hosted environment is port 80 for HTTP requests and port 443 for HTTPS requests. These are known ports for web traffic on hosted machines. As a result, users don't need to include the port in the web address to access the site. So, as front-end web developers, areas of focus for further learning include familiarizing ourselves with the web servers out there and how they are hosted and run. Understanding these, even from a high overview level, will empower us to make stronger development decisions as well as be able to diagnose and debug issues on our own without needing to call IT. In the next clip, we will learn what we need to know about the transport part of the network, how that web address gets routed to the right hosting machine, and how the response gets delivered back.